So we need to get back to that issue of processes.
Yes.
The processes in the power sector that have been so far, that have brought us to where we are. You say Nigeria is trying, but what are those processes that need to change in order for us to see the power that we need to see?
So I think we need to, as a country, engage. We want more of our people to be involved in this, to have a stake. As of now, you talk to the average Nigerian, he thinks it's they, the Jenkos, the Discos.
Why wouldn't you think that, I mean, he has a small, in quote, I pass my neighbor generator,
yes,
or his neighbor has the 6 kV and the other neighbor has the 20 kV. So all he knows is about what he's able to do for himself. And then when it's time to get the bills are sometimes estimated bills that he didn't even use.
Okay.
And he doesn't see the power, but he has to pay for it.
Fantastic. So what I'm talking about is that imagine a situation now in which this person you talk about and his neighbor and a few others, they are living somewhere, and they have an opportunity now to be investors in supplying power to the local community. So instead of you going to buy a pass my neighbor and buying diesel and petrol to run it, you become a power owner, really, a small power owner. You can go to the banks. There are banks that are saying, look, if you have these small and medium enterprises, we advance you 80%, 90% of the capital cost you need to do it. So you have a small power company. They do deals with the banks. They have a stake in it. Suddenly, even protecting the plants locally, they have a stake and all that. So those are the things we are looking at. It moves you from just being by yourself to being part of a corporate structure that has a full backing.
How cost effective is this? Do you think that it will be less expensive than what we currently have? Because the government is also concerned about ensuring that people are able to get electricity at a cost that is affordable and sustainable over a long period.
So the problem we have now, what is the cause of darkness? Okay, I think at the end of the day, the market will take care of itself, and the market will take care of itself, and what people are paying now, I think I said when I was last here, that the poor, you're looking at 80 naira per kilowatt hour is what is costing them to do self-generation and buy kerosene and things like that. What I'm talking about with micro grid and all that is going to be a lot cheaper than that, a lot cheaper. And as you have more, you're going to have the economy of scale kicking in. And at the end of the day, you're going to see this cost nosedive. The cost of putting a power plant up now, ranges between $1 to $3 a watt. And solar panels, for example, now are below $1 a watt. If you create local labor in doing this, because labor cost is one of the biggest components of this, at least in abroad. But here, we have no jobs. We have 50 million youth waiting to be employed, and we can get them engaged. And so I think at the end of the day, if we do this right, it's going to even influence the cost. It's going to be a question of supply and demand. And you don't want to also put a heavy hammer that if I'm living in Lagos, I must pay the same rate as somebody who is in Ilorin or whatever.
So the costs will differ.
You should allow the market. You should allow the market to evolve. And to evolve naturally. There will be some harsh environments where to generate power is going to cost a lot of money. So anybody who's going to play in that area, if it's costing him X amount per kilowatt hour to produce electricity, you can't tell him that he must charge X over 4. You must allow the market to dictate where things are going. So I think we have an opportunity. We should not allow our laws to limit innovation. We should not allow our laws to not allow people who want to help. There are so many people who want to come, they have ideas, they have money they want to put in, and they have hurdles in their way. We must allow things, we must change the regulation and allow this thing to be possible so that this power thing can really be solved. The job creation potential is enormous if we do this right. If we do it right, it is huge.
How much time are we looking at to build some of these things you're talking about? Assuming the country were to take this plan on board and implement it, how much time will we need? Are we looking at 3 months, 6 months, a year maybe?
To put up a 10 to 50 megawatt plant using renewable energy sources, remember now, I'm not building kilometers and kilometers of cables or gas delivery lines. I'm localizing them. I'm doing what in computing they call parallel processing. I have a big job to do, and I distribute it to thousands of places. So I can be doing them at the same time. And that's why I like for us to do training among the communities. To put up a 10 to 50 megawatt plant, if you do it right, and there are no laws not inhibiting you quickly, 180 days.
3 months.
Yes, 6 months. 6 months, and all that, you'll be done. If you are going to, maximum 1 year, system will be up. So you can have a situation in which you are building these small power plants. On the
average, how much does it cost?
It depends on the source, the renewable energy source. Like I said, if the fuel source is free, like solar and things like that, the acquiring the solar panels today is less than $1 a watt. Of course, then there are some power electronics. You hear about inverters. I said we like to have storage. I love every community in Nigeria to have energy storage.
What about the cabling part? You just talked about building the plant.
Yes.
The distribution of it.
Yeah,
it will involve laying cables.
It's a lot of civil work. It's a lot of civil works. It's a lot of labor. Cables are not expensive, but there's digging and there's and all that.
Is that also included in the 6 months you talked about?
Yes, because people are laying the cables and you're building your power electronics and you're doing like that. You're doing all this. And by the way, if you are to do about 60 megawatts per local government in Nigeria, you generate over 50,000 megawatts. Over 50,000, and you create over 6 million jobs. So there's an opportunity for us as a country to approach this thing differently. Don't try to look at these gigantic solutions. You're doing whatever you're doing, but bring this in, bring small and medium enterprises. I like what NAPTIN is doing, the National Power Training Institute. I've been collaborating with them to launch out capacity development for energy. We train our young people in all fields.
So that people will have the technical know-how.
Exactly, you need that. For every 1 megawatt plant that you are building, we estimate that you create about 130 jobs, direct and indirect. There are bricklayers, there are cable layers, there are people, installing storage systems and things like that.
Are you imagining that a microgrid will be able to generate at least 50 megawatts, or are you looking at 50 of them in generating one megawatts in different places?
Yeah, so you have micro within micro within micro. So when I say I'm doing 50 megawatts, and I do 1 megawatt in 50 places there, it doesn't have to be, even within that local community, I can still distribute. So you have this, almost resolution of all scales, so my street can be part of a bigger stuff. And so if my street fails, I'm capturing from the next. If my whole area fails, I'm capturing.
Fantastic idea and solutions you preferred. But the other question would be, how much of consumption do we have? How much of power is consumed per house, per kilowatt per hour? Do we have an idea?
We do have an idea. Today, per month, the average home in Nigeria has is less than 50 kilowatt hour per month. In the United States, the average home has access to about 1,000, 900 to 1,000. For us to be an industrialized country, to be industrialized, we have to scale from where we are today, less than 4,000 kilowatts of power generated, to about 40,000. but also really be first-class country, we should be looking at about 160 to 170,000 megawatts of power. You cannot do that. That's the other issue. By trying to build huge lines connecting Osogbo to Port Harcourt and all that stuff. What you need to do is divide this project up. You know, how do you carve out an elephant, a piece at a time? So you take this big problem and break it into smaller problems. That's the way to go. And then engage millions of people. Let the local people have a stake in this. The Nigerian economy is about $509 billion. Telecom alone, I think I talked about it last time I was here, is about 8.7% of it. So every year in the telecom sector, Nigerians are spending about $45 billion. And so people are saying we need about $10 billion every year to build the power system. That's what the experts are saying. That money can come from within Nigeria if people believe they have a stake in it. And I think that is the philosophy we have to follow as a country. This problem has lingered long enough. And if you have been using the same technique and it has not produced solution, you have to think otherwise. Say, what else should I be looking at? I think it's time for us to get serious about solving the power problem.
And at that point, I think we'll just let it go at that point. Thank you so much for coming. Professor Olurinde Lafe, Director, Center for Renewable Energy Technology, University of Technology, Akure.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Sunrise Studio will be back in a moment. Please don't go there.